Can't hear anything, Claire? If you can't hear me, you might want to go out and come back in and see if that helps. And if you can't hear me, then that doesn't help you, does it? Okay, let me type it in the chat. Oh, okay, got it working now. Yay. We'll give it a few minutes for everybody to come in. In the meantime, while you guys are here in the chat, can you please put what kind of anxiety would you classify that you're struggling with? And if you're not sure, just say not sure. It's just going to help me hone the group a little bit more. Okay. Social anxiety. Not sure. Okay. I'll give you some descriptions in a few minutes that may help you. So if you hear one of them that actually makes you connect, then definitely let me know. When things change, don't go so well. Notice it can trigger me. Okay. Yeah, many of us don't like change. Don't know how to adjust and adapt. Thank you guys for showing up on time. You're very welcome, Claire. Okay. So as more come in, they'll come in. So the different types of anxiety, this may help you, Michael. So agoraphobia, it's an anxiety disorder in which you fear and often avoid places or situations that might cause you to panic and make you feel trapped, helpless, or embarrassed. Anxiety disorder due to a medical condition includes symptoms of intense anxiety or a panic that can directly be caused by physical health problems. Generalized anxiety disorder includes persistent excessive anxiety and worry about activities or events. So even ordinary routine issues. So the worry is out of proportion to the actual circumstance. So it's difficult to control and affects how you feel physically. It often occurs along with other anxiety disorders or even depression. There's panic disorder, which involves repeated episodes of sudden feelings of intense anxiety and fear or terror that can reach a peak within minutes, like panic attacks. And you may have feelings of impending doom, shortness of breath, chest pain, or rapid fluttering or pounding heart palpitations. And these panic attacks may lead to worrying about them happening again or avoiding situations in which they might occur again. The others, there's social anxiety disorder or social phobia involves high levels of anxiety, fear, and avoidance of social situations due to feelings of embarrassment, self-consciousness, and concern about being judged or viewed negatively by others. Specific phobias are characterized by major anxiety when you're exposed to a specific object or situation and a desire to avoid it altogether. So these phobias provoke panic attacks, and some people like avoiding flights or snakes, fear of getting some kind of condition or disease. There's a number of different phobias. Substance-induced anxiety is characterized by symptoms of intense anxiety or panic that are a direct result of misusing drugs, taking medications, being exposed to a toxic substance, or withdrawal from drugs. And then there are others. So some are just unspecified. So it's different for everybody. So I just really want you to be aware of that, because we don't want to start off not knowing what we're dealing with. And so everybody's kind of on the same page. Okay. If you have any questions along the way, please don't hesitate. If for some reason it stays this small, you're welcome to turn off your mute button, and you can just interrupt me as we go, or you can put something in the chat and I'll see the chat come up. So I will definitely address it. So anxiety can really take you out of the game. And there's lots of signs and symptoms. So you can feel nervous, you can feel restless, you can feel tense. You're going to have possibly sense of impending danger, panic, or doom. Your increase of your heart rate, breathing's going to be rapid because you're hyperventilating. So you're breathing from the upper chest and not from the belly. Maybe you're going to break out in a sweat. You might have trembling. You might feel weak or tired, or trouble concentrating and thinking about anything other than the present worry. So oftentimes instead of staying in the present moment, we have a tendency to future project and catastrophize. So what does that look like? It looks like you have some event that's coming up, and in your head, you're creating this scenario and story about how awful it's going to be. And you're going to go down that negative rabbit hole of, oh my God, what if this? And what if that? And oh my goodness, what is that? It's so relatable when anxiety is bad. Yeah. Yeah. And so we get into that catastrophizing. So the best way to undo that part is to stay in the present moment as best you can. So you want to get grounded. You want to stay focused on your breath and doing deep belly breaths. Now, I find what really helps is a box breath, which is a 4 count. So you're inhaling for 4, you're holding for 4, exhaling for 4, and then you're pausing for 4. And this will help calm your nervous system, take you out of that heightened state of fight, flight, and freeze, and put you into the rest and digest part of our nervous system, which is where we're supposed to be most of the time. And these days, I think most of us are in that heightened state. It's called the sympathetic nervous system. And so when we're in this heightened state, this is also some of the symptoms. You can't relax. You don't know how to sit and enjoy yourself. Your mind is running like crazy. You've got the list that's like 20 long, and you can't, maybe your sleep is being challenged. Your definite digestion is being challenged. What you're eating and drinking changes. Maybe you're eating too much junk food or not enough food, period, because of what's the stress that's in your body. Maybe you're drinking too much alcohol. Maybe you're smoking too much. Maybe you're going into drugs. Maybe you're snapping at everybody that you love around you. You're in this wired state, like your body just cannot settle. So when you're in this, that deep belly breathing will really help you. The getting grounded will help you as well. So grounding is different for everybody, and it can look different for everybody. So it can be simple as going for a walk, putting on some music and dancing, doing the belly breath. It can be talking to a friend or a therapist. It could be talking to your coach. It could be walking outside with your bare feet on the grass. It could be hugging a tree. It could be something that settles you and really puts you into a calmer state. So whatever that looks like for you. For me, water is a big factor. So I go to the ocean as much as I possibly can. And I've been going more and more often just to help get myself recentered and in a calmer state so that I can have clarity and I can not get into the anxiety. A lot of times doesn't allow us to think properly. So that it adds to the catastrophizing, and it adds to the overwhelm of everything, because that negative downward spiral is just going like crazy, and it keeps going down and down and down. So you might have GI tract problems. Maybe there's different kinds of digestion issues. There could be difficulty controlling your worries. So we're just, like I said, we're in that downward spiral, and having the urge to avoid things that trigger the anxiety. So being anxious is okay in and of itself, as long as it doesn't become consistent, and as long as it's in a moment of time. So when my family came back, just for those who don't know, my family left for 20 months, and they had, my ex is a narcissist, so there was a lot of verbal and mental abuse. And the day they left, I can tell you, I wrote a post, and he actually brought it up in our settlement conversation, is that I had my freedom day. And that's the truth, whether he likes it or not. That's how I felt, because I was just feeling always on this need to anticipate his next move, and for him, to be able to guard myself against his behavior and his attitude and his mannerisms, and what was going to happen and not happen, and just kind of always on guard, making sure that I wasn't caught off guard. And the eggshell syndrome as well, where you're just walking on eggshells all the time because you're not sure what's going to happen. So this can look different in different people's lives. So this is my experience. So then they're gone for 20 months. I did a lot of healing. I came back to myself. I was more in my personal power, and he met a different person when he came back. So I didn't tolerate his nonsense. I was more in my personal power. I was feeling more in control, and I wasn't easily manipulated or persuaded, or I didn't feel the need to please him at all. And I'm now realizing I was a people pleaser. After 56 years, I never knew that. When we start doing the therapy and the working on ourselves, we start to realize these things and didn't even know. It's kind of crazy. So just be aware. Again, there's no judgment or criticism. This is all about awareness. So the more aware you are, then the better things will be, because then you can actually try to change things, and you can try to adapt things, and you can add tools to your toolbox so that you can actually figure out a good way to, yeah. Well, I guess I just didn't see it like that, because to me, people pleasing is, it's different. I guess it was that I would do it with everybody, and I don't. So I was doing it with him, and I didn't, and I've done it with my mother in the past, and probably my father. So there's definitely a pattern of it. It's just I don't do it with everybody. So I guess I just didn't see it as people pleasing. So we'll have this conversation a little more in depth, because it's important, and a lot of us probably are doing this as well. But so then they come back, and then they come back unannounced, and my body went into a bit of an anxiety attack and panic attack, and I was stressed out. And thankfully, I got the forewarning, because I think it would have been a lot worse if they had just showed up and I had no warning. So I had the morning. He didn't show up until the evening. So I had the morning to kind of settle myself. If you're coming on live, please mute yourself so we can continue the conversation. And so I was walking up and down, like I felt like a caged tigress. So I was walking up and down my halls. I called some friends to help settle me down, and to remind me I'm okay, that I've done a lot of the healing, I'm going to be okay. And I had to coach myself through this. So I did the breathing, and I took the tools that I had, and I really got myself centered and focused, so that when he did show up, I was okay. So when we know we're going into situations, especially with social anxiety, that we're going to set ourselves up with the tools that we've used and we're aware of. Okay. And most of us, my understanding and awareness to this is we're all empaths. And because we take on other people's energies and we're empathetic towards what other people are going through, it's going to be super important for you to ground and stay present, even more so than the average person. And also, it's going to be important for you to protect your energy. So I'm going to digress for a minute. So what does that look like? Protecting your energy. So it could be as simple as you envision a circle, a pyramid, a cylinder, a bubble around you. You can quietly do this now. So sit with yourself and ask yourself, what is your protective shape? Take some nice deep breaths and be open to the answer. Maybe you'll hear it, maybe you'll see it, maybe you'll feel it, or you're just going to know it. And then you're going to ask yourself, what is the protective color? And it could be multiple colors. It could be a rainbow color. It could be anything. It could be black, blue, pink, purple, green, yellow, orange, turquoise, whatever's coming up for you. And you're going to surround the shape with the color, and the color is going to go into the shape. And you're going to set the intention that only love and light comes in and love and light goes out. And this way, especially again, if it's social anxiety is your thing, or you know for sure that when you go out, you absorb other people's emotional pain or physical pain, you do this before you go out. Now, as you raise your vibration, you won't have to do this on a conscious level anymore. So this is something that I've done for most of my career, and I didn't even know I was doing it until I was doing it. And I remember one day walking into a workplace. It was a sales job, but it was a low-level sales job. So most of the people were undereducated. This was one of few jobs they could actually get because it didn't require a lot of skill level, but you had to sell. And due for coming on after a panic attack. I am not sure, Claire. I've never had to do it. You can certainly try it. Most things, when you're in an anxiety attack or a panic attack, you need to shift your focus. So I can't imagine it would be a bad thing to step into. The breathing probably will help you more, and the grounding. But you can certainly try the shape and see if that makes a difference. And also be aware that sometimes we can actually take on other people's stuff. So what does that look like? So several months ago, I'm sitting here at my desk in the office. I'm working on my business, and all of a sudden, I felt this overwhelming dread, heaviness, darkness, and I was crying out of the blue. And because, again, I'm aware of this, then I know it's not mine, because I was in a really good mood up until that point. So I made this post about, if you're feeling heavy and dark and you're experiencing some intensity right now, I'm sending you love and light. And I got like 30 different comments. And so clearly a lot of people, I was picking up on a lot of people in my sphere, their energies. And there probably was one or two people that were really connected to me even more. And that's why I felt it. So then I just quieted myself, and I just literally saw it falling away from me. And I put that protective shape around me so that I wasn't absorbing it into my body. And that's the important part of it all, is not to absorb it into ourselves, because it's not ours in the first place. So I had gone to my sales job that day. And as I'm walking into the sales office, the heavy, dark energy was overwhelming. And I was pregnant with my first daughter. So maybe that made me more sensitive, and it can happen. So I walked back out of the sales office. I went into the foyer, and the receptionist is there, and her and I get along really well. And she's into all these different things, including essential oils, and she's aware of energies and such. So we had a conversation. She's like, Tina, are you okay? My God, that room. I said I had to step out because it was just so heavy. So I literally put my hand out as far as it would go, and I circled myself 3 times, and I turned 3 times. I don't know why I did it. I just know these things. So I just trusted that this is what I needed to do. So I did that, went back in the room, felt nothing. This is how amazing this stuff is. So it doesn't have to take a lot. And we've got to just be open to trust that it doesn't have to be a lot. It doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to take control of us. We could journal. Some people it's journaling. Some people it's meditation. Now, for me, when I'm in this heightened state, a lot of times journaling is not going to help me because I cannot put thought sentences together to be able to journal. I've gotten better, but not everybody has gotten to that point. So just again, be aware of that, right? So for me, the biggest thing is walking. So I move my body as much as I can. I watch comedies, or I watch romance, just to get myself into a better state. And I stay in that energy as much as possible, the feeling good. So we have choices. We can stay in the emotion of anxiety and overwhelm and heightened stress and panic, or we can use our tools to bring us back into the more balance or relief. And finding relief is the best thing. Feeling good is better than constant worry and stress. Amen to that. It is. And so, but and we've got to be aware it's a choice. A lot of us, and included myself included, before I started this work, didn't realize these things were choices. I just thought it happened to me. So when you have the belief that everything's happening to you, you're in a victim state, you're in a victim mode. And when you're in that energy, things are happening to you, perceived. And if you switch that around to look at things as things are happening for me. So I see things now from a different lens. I see things as opportunities to heal, to know I've healed, to know where my triggers are and what more I need to heal, and to be able to look at things from an objective state. So because I deal with the laws of the universe and laws of attraction and laws of manifestation, I'm trying to figure out what the heck in my energy was I thinking in calling my family back. And so I realized that it was teaching me and showing me where I have healed and what needed further healing. So I saw that I was in my personal power. I saw that I was stronger. I saw that I was wiser. I saw that I wasn't easily manipulated. I was able to test out my ability to shut him out and shut the girls out as far as the noise that they were kind of pushing at me. So when you look at things from that perspective, then anxiety is just an opportunity to heal. There's something that's out of alignment. There's something that's not quite right. There's something that's out of harmony, out of balance. So we have a soul self, and that soul self is always coming from a place of love, coming from a place of wellness, coming from a place of abundance, coming from a place of gratitude, coming from a place of appreciation. So where are you not coming from those spaces? That's a good journal prompt for you guys. So if you have your books, I would really think it's a good idea. Okay, sorry, Claire, I missed that. Hang find your comment. When I was feeling bad, I didn't see you were in the victim state. Yes. But when you feel more positive and just take things as they are, even when things don't go right, things feel better than just worrying and having negative energy. 100%. And again, it's a shift that we can make. We're not stuck. It's not who we are. It's not a part of us unless we allow it to be. We are more in control of our lives than we actually realize. So for a long time, I would say I was passive observer of my life, and I was in a victim state. So it's one of those, you're going up a creek without a paddle kind of experience. Things were coming at me all the time. And I didn't know that that's what was happening, was I was in this victim state. I was in this, things are happening to me. And when I realized that I'm a participant in my life and I need to be actively participating in my life, that's when I started taking control again. So I started paying attention to my emotions, what I was thinking, what I was saying, what I was doing, and what I was feeling. So our emotions are our internal guidance system. You don't feel good, you're off, you're out of balance. You feel good, you're on, you're in balance. It's as simple as that. It's simplified because clearly, there's ranges of different emotions, but that's the awareness that we need to have. So if you're not feeling good, then what is the thought behind the emotion, the feeling? So generally speaking, there's usually a subconscious thought. And that subconscious thought is negative, and it's not serving us, but it got us here. So it's something that's formed since we were 7, and it's come from parents, siblings, teachers, someone in our world where they kept repeating certain things, or you were made to feel in a way through that 7-year-old filter and perspective, which is not formed yet. So of course, it's going to be misconstrued. So there was this article, can't remember where I got it, but it was talking about perspective and the shifts around what a kid could interpret from action. So there's this young child, she goes out into the field and she picks up some wild flowers. She doesn't know that they're weeds, but she brings them back. She's so excited. She gives them to her mom. She knows, it's showing her out of love. And the mother, because she's all caught up in her head and she's busy and she's not paying attention and she's not thinking about her daughter and how she's going to feel based on what her actions are going to be. She takes the weeds, she puts them off to the side, and she says, thanks, but these are weeds. Throw them in the garbage. Now that child interpreted that scenario, that she wasn't loved, she wasn't appreciated, that she was being rejected for her kindness, for who she is, for what she was thinking. And if along that pathway in her journey as she moved forward, she had other situations reinforce that, or someone said something to make her feel that, then she has a habit of thought. And that habit of thought becomes locked in at the subconscious level, and it forms a belief. So, how many people, put it in the chat, believe that what you believe is true? Do you believe that what you believe is true? So when I first discovered this, I was in shock. Absolutely. Yes. So the question is, do you believe what you believe is true? So the truth is, most of the time, what we believe is not true. And I'm like, what? How is that possible? If I believe it, it must be true. And then I started looking at my beliefs and I'm thinking, crap, maybe they aren't true. Yes, Claire. So if you believe you're not good enough, that you're not worthy, you're not deserving, are those true? Put a yes or a no or a Y or an N in the chat. No, correct. But it's a belief we have. because that 7-year-old little girl, yes, the mind is a powerful thing, isn't it? So that little girl actually believed, based on that action of her mother, probably that she was not good enough. And then she got evidence, more evidence along her journey and her pathway that she wasn't good enough. And reinforced that habit of thought, which then gets locked in as a belief. So we have two different parts of our brain. We have the conscious and the subconscious part of our brain. So the conscious part is what you actually are aware of. The subconscious is what you're not aware of. This is where the fun part begins. So when you first learn to drive, you're conscious. So you're checking everything. You've got your fists are really tight around the wheel and you're freaking out and every little thing is just, you're all jittery and you're not sure, right? Now you're driving, you're like, no. You're looking all over the place. You could be talking to a friend. You could be listening to the radio. Shouldn't be, but you could be texting while you're driving, and you're going to get where you're coming from to where you're going without even thinking and realizing that you're even there and how you got there. How many of you have done that? Showed up at work or showed up at home and you went, damn, how did I even get there? Because you're not thinking. You're not consciously aware of it. It's in the subconscious. So our subconscious is really important. And what happens then is the subconscious makes up 95% of our brain. And 95% of our thoughts are negative and untrue. Yikes. Yep. Right. So it's a habit now. It wasn't, but it is now. So that habit of thought is also locked in. So filters. A friend of mine, she was over one day and we're watching this show because it was a Saturday afternoon and the kids were hanging out and we were just chatting and stuff like that. And the TV was just on background noise. And we were watching this, it was a fashion television channel in Canada. And I'm looking at the beautiful designs or the weird designs and the fashion models and thinking, wow, they're so statuesque and how they walk in those heels, I have no idea. So I'm looking at it from that filter because I don't have body image issues. But she has struggled with anorexia and bulimia most of her life. So that's what she saw, were these women that were being exploited, that they were being forced to have bad eating habits in order for them to be able to stay this size, and all the psychological issues that went along with it and all this kind of stuff. And I'm looking at her and I'm thinking, wow, like it was so evident. It was amazing that we could be watching this exact same show and those two filters have such a different perception, right? And a different belief. So I'm seeing the beauty of it all. She's seeing the stress of it all. So again, same thing, the subconscious mind, whatever we were taught along the way is going to have these kinds of thoughts. So this is why we use our emotions to actually figure out what is behind. So if you wake up, you're feeling like crap. Okay. And so why are you feeling like crap? Well, you ask yourself, what is the thought that I'm thinking right now? It could be from that day. It could be from that moment. It could be from the day before. Once you figure out the thought is, then you ask yourself, is it true? It probably isn't. Then you ask yourself, sorry. Then you ask yourself, whose voice is it? So there's times where it's going to be your mother's voice, your dad's voice, maybe it's an ex-boyfriend, ex-partner's voice, but it's not yours. And this is when you really know it's not true, when it's not your voice. Once you figure out whose voice it is, then you want to acknowledge it. I see you, I feel you, I hear you, and I release you. And then you can reframe it. So what is a reframe? So you want to change it to a positive, from a negative to a positive. So you might want to write it down. And then if the thought is that I'm not good enough, or I didn't do a good job during XYZ event, then what's the reframe? Maybe you didn't do a great job, but maybe you did the best you could with what you had. And that's okay. And it's good enough for now. Whose voice is it? Yes. It's important because these subconscious thoughts are locked in from other people, not from us. We don't wake up one day and go, damn, we're the worst human being in the world, and we're not good enough, we're not worthy, and we're not deserving of anything. We suck. We don't do that. We don't do that to ourselves. We may, in time, if someone repeats these things to us, and then it gets locked in as the belief, and then we start to believe it's true, then we can say these things. You see the connection, the puzzle piece? So when you're actually looking at these things, you're becoming more and more aware. And the more awareness you can have, the better. So once we reframe it, that can be an affirmation that you use. And it could be something where you're going to keep repeating to yourself because, again, it needs to become a habit of thought. It's not something that's going to change overnight. Makes a lot of sense. More awareness can nip it in the bud. Yes. Okay. So we want to so if we've got the reframe, let's say we're feeling like we didn't do good enough and it's not our voice, it's an ex-boyfriend's voice, and we're hearing it loud and clear. And so we ask ourselves, is it true? No. And whose voice is it? It's my ex-boyfriend's. Okay. So we acknowledge it, we see it, we release it and let it go. And then we reframe it. So what is true? I'm doing the best I can with what I have. I'm doing the best I can. I'm willing to do the best I can. So a lot of affirmations don't work because there's too big of a gap. So let's say you're sick and you've got some condition or disease or whatever it is, and you want to be free of that. So this is the gap, right? Where you are to where you want to be. So we want to bridge the gap. We want to bring ourselves closer and align ourselves to what we want to be true. So oftentimes the gap is too big. So for example, actually, let's do money. I want to be a millionaire. And you have $10 in your bank. I'm just being silly. And that's a huge gap. Like it's like a huge gap, like not a little bit of gap, a huge gap. So you saying, I'm going to be a millionaire every day is not going to help you. Your brain is going to call bullshit. And because the ego mind looks for the gaps and it looks for discomfort and it looks for unsafety, then it's going to actually rear its ugly head and negate that affirmation altogether. And then you're going to get into the mind chatter. It's going to go like crazy. And who do you think you are? Can't believe you thought that. Why would you think that? You got $10 in your bank account. How is that possible? You're not going to go from $10 to $1 million. Right? Sound familiar? on some level. So we want to bridge it. What does that look like? I'm willing to believe that I can be a millionaire over time. I'm willing to believe I can be anxiety-free over time. I'm willing to believe that I can be well again. I'm willing to believe that I can be healthy again. I'm willing to believe I can have the most incredible love relationship ever. So whatever the issue is, it doesn't matter. It's across the board. It's the same for everything. If there's a limiting belief, this works for everything. So try it out over the next 5 days. I really want you to pay attention to what your mind is telling you, write it down, and then go through this process. Okay? This is a big tool that makes a huge difference. It helped me on a big scale. Then I want you to go into gratitude. So why do we go into gratitude? When we're in gratitude, we're not thinking negative, we're thinking positive. You can't help it because you're appreciating, you're in gratitude. What helped me a lot through a lot of the trauma, especially at the beginning, was doing a gratitude list. Mentally, I did it. Others, it's recommended that you put pen to paper because there's some kind of brain connection between the pen and the paper. It will lock it in better. And I just didn't, I didn't do that. And that's fine. So whatever it looks like for you, it doesn't really matter, but it's going to be more beneficial if you write it. So I would do a gratitude list in the morning. So it actually made me feel good because I'm looking for the positive. We as a society look always for the negative. And it's how we're built because our ego minds are looking for us to stay in comfort and stay safe. And so these days, it's not the saber-toothed tiger that is running after us that's making us unsafe. It's the triggers. It's the lack of money. It's the toxic relationships. It's the conversations that set us into a bit of a tailspin to make us feel bad. So those we want to stay away from as much as we possibly can. And the gratitude will keep us in that energy, at least start our day that way. Then at nighttime, we want to do another gratitude list. And if you can only find one or two things to begin with, that's okay. Look for it. It could be as simple as that you're alive and that you're breathing. And then look at your body. What is going on with your body? If your body is working properly, except for your mind, then what are all the things in your body that are working? My hands move. I can do my job because of my hands. I don't have any discomfort or any pain in my hands or my shoulders, or I have good vision. I have good hearing. That said that we wished for. Okay, sorry. So we can do all of that. And the reason why we want to do it at night, especially if there's two choices and you can only do one, do it mostly at night. And the reason why is because that rewires the brain through the nighttime, because then you're going to look for the positive on purpose. And the brain is going to look for the positive on purpose. So Claire's saying she read something that said the things we wish for can have now and don't see that have it and cannot see it and want other things. That was powerful. Do you have to be grateful and appreciate what we have? That we can lift it out of the mood. Things can be a lot worse. Yeah, so if I'm reading this properly, then yes, gratitude and appreciation can lift us out of the mood. And even though when we say that things can be a lot worse, it's not necessarily, if that's where you are, then fine. but it's a lack energy still. So you want to look for a positive, uplifting energy. And it could be as simple as, your children or kids. Maybe you went to a park and you walked by a park today and the kids made you smile because they were giggling and laughing and enjoying life. We can learn a lot from kids because kids don't allow themselves, usually, generally speaking, get all freaked out and worried about stuff that's in our lives. So when we have so what can happen is we want to be a certain way. So just like, let's take anxiety. We want to be anxiety free. And we're not there yet. There's a gap. You're still experiencing anxiety. Maybe you've got panic attacks. Maybe it's messing with your mind. Maybe it's messing with your job. Maybe things are really not very good. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to be accepting of where we are and then work towards closing the gap to where we want to be. So if we're saying things like, I can't believe I've been doing this practice for a couple of weeks now, and I'm not there yet. We're looking over our shoulder. We're being impatient. Mom, are we there yet? Are we there yet? I need to go to the bathroom. We're silly sometimes. So, or what we do, if you follow Abraham and Hicks at all, is they say you're going from, okay, I don't know America well enough, but if we're going from Toronto to Burlington in Canada, where we know we have a GPS system, we plug in the address, we trust the car to navigate us to where we want to go. And when we have anxiety, overwhelm, or any condition or disease we want to get rid of and we want to be free of, and this could be from money, it could be love relationships, it is in all areas of our lives, then all of a sudden you might get halfway there and you're doubting the fact that you're on the right path. And instead of listening to the GPS system that's telling you how to go and where to go, you turn around and you go back to Toronto. Does that sound familiar? So we want to have compassion with ourselves. We want to have grace with ourselves. We want to allow ourselves our journey and have some patience. And I've been there and I've done that. So again, there's no criticism, there's no judgment at all. This is the way we are. And we've just got to work with ourselves so that it's not taking us out of the game. Okay, so I hope that clears things up for you. The other thing is that we want to trust and have faith that we're going to be okay. And that with every move, with every day, with every tool that we use, with every consistent habit that we're creating, the new change that we're creating, we will get to where we want to go, which is anxiety free. So if we are, and again, I'm guilty of this, I've been working with energy for a long time, and I have a tendency to stop focusing on myself and focus on other people and what they're doing in their lives. And so sometimes I falter. And again, it's okay. I'm human. It's part of the human journey. And as soon as we realize it, we step back into what we know and we just continue the journey. We don't have to criticize ourselves. We don't have to get upset. We don't have to get disappointed in ourselves because, oh my gosh, I put myself back and it's going to take me longer to get where I want to go. It's okay. You're going to be okay. Everything in the end is going to be okay. That is God's honest truth. And that mantra has been something that has stuck with me for the last 5 years. Can you pick up negative energy more easily? Oh, yeah, 100%, Claire. As an empath, you pick up everybody's energy. So my cousin's daughter and her husband are both empaths. And they had to separate for a while because they were too young and unaware of how to manage their selves within the unit of a relationship. So they got counseling, they separated, they had their own lives, although they stuck around each other and they still had interaction and went on dates and still kept the relationship going. But they were so in tune with each other that she would walk in, she's in a pissy mood, and all of a sudden he's in a pissy mood. And they would just go at each other. And or he would be in a bad mood and she'd take on his bad mood. So this is knowing this information can really help. The other thing you're going to want to be aware of is the moon cycle. Sometimes it is hard, Michael. Yes, being an empath. And it's awareness. So the more aware you are, then you can use these tools so that, especially that protective energy bubble that I was sharing with you earlier, which will really help you when you're moving forward. And as you're raising your vibration and you're getting healthier and you're getting more and more uplifted and more positive and feeling good and happy and enjoy, then you won't need to worry about anything outside of you because you're already protected from your high vibe state. That's the beauty of it. So you've got an advantage being an empath. So look at it that way. Because when we look at things as being hard, then we're self-prophesizing. It is hard. And then it becomes true. And there's your new belief. Right? So when you're saying things that are, what's the word, carte blanche, where it sounds like it's really true, like when you're saying things are hard, life is difficult, I'm broke, I can't make more money or enough money, you're frustrated with something, any negative kind of feeling around a subject, I would really write it down and I'd really look at it and ask yourself, is it true? Is it really true? Is it really that hard? Is it really that difficult? It's going to require change. It's going to require some commitment and consistency on your part. It's going to require you to be a different person. And that can be hard. And I was teaching this a couple of weeks ago, and there's a phrase, and I think it was by Bob Proctor. It's pick your hard. So being where you are right now is hard. Getting to where you want to be is going to be hard. Pick your hard. Would you rather, at the end of the day, be panic-free, anxiety-free, living a happy, healthy life, feeling amazing, or do you want to stay where you are? That's your choices. Pick your hard. I hope this is landing for y'all. Okay. So I'm going to do a 15-minute energy release before we get off the call so that you guys are feeling a little less anxious and overwhelmed. And I'm going to get you either sitting or lying down, and you can just change your breathing. So you're going to do, and the inhale, you're going to do the box breath. So you're going to have your hand on your belly. because we want to breathe from the belly, because we want to fill our entire body with oxygen, not just the upper chest. And when we're in the upper chest breathing, we're shallow breathing, and then we're compressing everything, and then the lungs get tight and not able to fully expand. And then all of a sudden it's signal to the brain going, uh-oh, not enough oxygen. Now I'm going to panic. Oh my gosh, now I'm going into anxiety attack because... So belly breathing, hands on your belly, taking a nice deep breath in through the nose. Feeling the ribs expand, feeling the upper chest expand for a count of 4. You're going to hold for 4. You're going to exhale for 4. You can do it audibly. You can just do it through your mouth, whatever works for you. And then you're going to pause for 4. This will be a tool that you can use anytime you want. And it's just going to take you out of that fight, flight, and freeze, out of that heightened state of stress and the anxiety and the overwhelm, and then allow you to settle and get back into the rest and digest part of your system. So do that a few times. And while you're doing that, I'm going to get you to envision roots coming from your feet or the bottom of your seat and going down, down, down into Mother Earth, wrapping around a beautiful large crystal of choice. And you're going to bring up some of this earth energy with your next inhale, pulling up the earth energy through the feet, your ankles, knees, and exhaling, setting the intention of releasing and letting go of what no longer serves you. And on the next deep inhale, bring up some of this earth energy from the knees to the pelvis. And then you're going to envision this beautiful white love light energy coming from God, Source, the universe, your higher power, coming down through the crown, going along your spine, igniting all your chakras, grounding you from above and below. And this white love light energy is going to settle in your heart space, loving the heart, warming the heart. Now, what I'm going to get you to envision is sticky notes all over your body, from the head to the toe. And you're going to put all the negative emotions that you've been feeling, anxiety, overwhelmed, stressed out, pissed off, anger, fear, worry, disappointed, grief, fear, whatever you're feeling, whatever emotions are coming up that you want to release and let go. Maybe it's a thought that I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, I'm not deserving, this will never happen for me, this is too hard, I don't want to go through this. Remembering that what you've been doing to this point has got you to where you are. And without change, you will continue to be where you are. Know you matter enough to pick your heart, to make the move so that you can be healthy, and thrive. Keep putting all these phrases, maybe there's stories that you're telling yourself that it will never happen for you. I had one gentleman tell me that it's never going to happen for him, that he can't figure it out. He won't be able to get free. Any beliefs, any identity. If you identify with being unwell, you identify with being unhealthy, if you identify being mentally unwell or have mental health issues, if there's been a diagnosis of some sort that you're identifying with, like social anxiety, like health anxiety, or general anxiety, or specific anxiety, whatever it is, whatever the thing that you're connecting it to, and you're identifying with it as your truth, put it on your sticky notes. You're safe to do this. Remind yourself you're safe. I was working with a client one time and she's like, nope, not gonna let those go. It was like a comfort baby blanket, kind of old purse, old shoes that you don't want to let go because you're something that you're used to, and it can feel unsafe to let it go. Know that you're safe to let it go. Keep putting it all on these sticky notes. Whatever's coming up for you. Any beliefs. Any feelings of rejection, abandonment. Any past traumas. Physical, mental, emotional. Any abuse. Any toxic relationships. Put it all on the sticky note. And know you're safe to let it go. Now I'm going to get you to envision this whirlwind coming from the top of the head down to the bottom of your feet, circling your entire body. It's like hurricane, tornado-like energy, and it's pulling all these energies out of your physical, energetic, and cellular bodies and putting it all into this vortex, spinning and pulling out all these thoughts, stories, beliefs, worries, fears, identity, pulling it all out. And allow yourself to just have the mantra, safe to let it go. Yeah, I'm going to be okay. Everything's okay. Safe to let it go. Even when you're feeling like you don't want to. Soothe your ego. Keep pulling it out. And with this next deep breath and the exhale, you're going to see all these notes drop. You're going to drop onto the ground and in the ground, and they're going to go down into Mother Earth for purification and change, for transmutation, turning darkness into light and love. Take some nice deep breaths with this. Mm. And again, envision these white love light energy coursing from the top of the head, down the neck, the shoulders, into the arms, the low back, into the legs and the feet, across the face, the eyes, the ears, the nose, the mouth, the neck, the throat, into your upper chest, down the arms to your fingertips, around the heart, around your solar plexus, around the abdomen, sacral and root chakra, down the feet, into the ground, surrounding you, overflowing with this beautiful white love light energy. It's replenishing, restoring, and rejuvenating you. And when you're ready, bring your awareness back to your body. You can wiggle your toes, your fingers, stretch, drink lots of water over the next little while. Even though that seems simplistic, it's very powerful, and it's still energy work, and it's clearing and it's releasing. So know that things may come up for you over the next little while, memories that you thought were healed, voices in your head that you are confused with. Why were you thinking about this person or this situation because you haven't thought about it for before in a long time? These are things that are still needing to be healed and released. So just allow yourself to feel it, to journal about it, to maybe talk about it if you need to. And you can even bring it up next session if you want to. So tomorrow is also at 2:00 Eastern Standard Time, 7 p.m. GMT time. There's a different link, and I apologize. I couldn't figure out how to have every day the same link. So it's a new link. So what I'm going to do is when I send you the replay of this, is I will send you the link. I will send you the link for tomorrow. And then that way you're going to be able to register again, because every day that you register, I will send you the recording. Okay. If you don't register for that day, I'll forget. I'll try not to, but I'll probably forget. Okay. If you have any questions, I don't know how to do this. You can put it in the chat now if anything's come up for you and you want to address over the next couple of days. If there's anything that's coming up for you and you think about it from now until tomorrow at 2:00, then I encourage you to DM me, either Instagram or Facebook, and then just ask the question. So I won't coach you through it at that time. I'll just take the questions, and then we'll have a Q&A on the last day on Monday. And then if you want, we're also going to be doing an actual coaching call, so you can see what the process is that I go through with my clients. And if there's anything that you want to address, if you're willing to come up and put yourself sort of on that, what they call a hot seat, where you're out there and you're sharing your experience so it can help you more specifically to what you're dealing with, that'll be Monday. So tomorrow we'll go dive deeper, and we'll do another different technique with the healing, so that you have different ways of releasing these energies and whatever works and feels good for you. So any questions, leave them in the chat. And if you don't have questions, then thank you for showing up. Thank you for taking care of yourself by showing up, and celebrate the fact that you showed up, because it shows you that you want to change and you want to get better. And that's a good thing. So pat yourselves on the back and maybe do a little celebratory something later on. So if anything comes up for you, let me know and we will go from there. And Richard, so you are an hour and 15 minutes later. So just so you know, for tomorrow, it's at 2:00 Eastern Standard Time and 7 p.m. British or GMT time for tomorrow. Okay, you're welcome very much. And we'll talk to you soon. Bye, guys.